Wow.
So at this point, I'm basically just thinning it down.
Things will come around if we'll take this top bit.
All right, hi, my name is Heath. Today I'm going to be giving a short demonstration on flint knapping. Basically taking hammerstones, striking them against obsidian or some other type of crystalline quartz like jasper, and hopefully making some blade of some sort, a tool that we can use to make some other sort of piece of equipment that we might carry in the field. People have been flint knapping for, well, ever since there was people. Just about everything that our natives used to survive with had to do with sharp rocks. They needed to hunt for food, make tools for farming, for skinning animals, to processing meat, to making cordage, to making fire sets, to making backpacks, to making teepees. Everything they did had to do with how much of this sharp rock that was in their area. Yeah, so flint knapping was something that man has done for a long, long time. And basically, you take a pretty heavy round stone that fits in your hand really well, and you strike it against a smaller, a bigger piece of obsidian like this right here, and trying to knock off edges, flakes, to shape into simple tools like a knife or an arrowhead. They also used animal hides as their safety equipment. I wouldn't just want to put this thing right on my leg and start banging on it because it could cut me, and it could still cut me. This stuff is really, really sharp when it comes off. It's just like glass. It basically is natural glass. So what I'm looking for is a platform. And a platform is two faces of the rock that make less than 90 degrees. So either 90 degrees or less. So when I see an angle that's less than 90 degrees and there's a flat top on the top of the rock, I call that a platform. And what we're doing is we're not just banging on the rock. There's actually a lot going on here. A lot of hand-eye coordination is involved. The speed of the hit, how far back you hit, how hard you hit. And one thing I like to show people that are learning is to try on your hand first. And it's just getting the feel where my arm is in relation to where my hand is and the rock in my hand. And I'm just hitting the edge of my hand. I'm trying to keep my upper arm in the same spot and just using my lower arm as basically a pendulum and letting the rock fall. Let gravity do a lot of the work, but let's just let my hands guide that rock into the right spot. And this is the big challenge for me, and probably any flint knapper, is making those really, really nice flakes, which comes from really, really nice swing, consistent swing, hitting the spot you want to hit, and getting the results that you want to get. That'll work. I'm gonna try to knock a flake off right here. Braid it just a little bit more. Shattered it. Would have been a pretty good one, but it broke into a bunch of different pieces. That's breaking rocks though. Sometimes it doesn't always go the way you plan. But the key is to at least get something out of a big chunk of rock. All right, just a little while ago I had it. It was down to a flake about this big around and sort of an oblong round shape, and I just started shaping it with pressure flaking, which is basically just putting the projectile point in your hand on top of a leather pad and finding the little high points that are here and just lightly, now not very much force at all, just taking off little bitty flakes and just fine-tuning this edge. There were a couple of thick spots earlier on that I had to remove, but I actually had to go back to some percussion stuff, just back and forth, and I was knocking off larger flakes like this size right here to the shape I wanted. It was basically a sort of a teardrop or a sort of a triangular shape, very thin at the bottom and on the corners, and what that allows you to do is to put notches in there for hafting to a arrow shaft. Just have to cut more of a grind in here, more of a notch in the arrow shaft, extend that further up, and then just lash it down with some sinew. And then you would have fletchings made from turkey feathers, just to give you an idea of what an arrowhead, what it's used for.
So we're going to look at some atlatls and some darts. The atlatl, so far as I've been able to tell, is the oldest hunting tool found on all continents and predates the bow and arrow. Basically what it is a leverage device where the spur fits into the nock of my 6-ish foot dart, and as it leaves, it adds extra power and force. So I have some blanks for us. I have some turkey feathers, and we're gonna go harvest a quickie atlatl and make this using the awesome Bark River Go Lock knife. In general, the atlatl in length should be about from your armpit to a little past your wrist. The biggest deal is also that you want the bottom of it to end where it's comfortable in your palm. If it gets too low, then I get caught on my wrist. So we were gonna go grab some willow by the creek, but instead we've come across this beautiful serviceberry tree, a great wood to make arrows and darts out of when you can find straight limbs, but we found something that might work out well for a quickie atlatl. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest it. So with the field expedient version, this can be done within a matter of minutes. All I went ahead and did is billet it out a couple of 45-degree angle cuts about 1/3 of the way into the wood, and then very carefully, without wrecking this sharp tip right here, the nock and the spur fit together that way, so you don't want to wreck that tip. One difference you'll note between these two is that this one actually has a bit of a dip underneath my spur, whereas this one's pretty flat. It is a faster load of my dart to have that extra bit taken out. This one, sometimes I have to fidget around to get it to lock in. So it's mostly a timing thing. Other things to note are sometimes you'll see actually bone or different type of stone attachments for your spur, and they can come out at different angles. All right, atlatl, done.
No, I just need a rabbit.
Let's make a dart.
Maybe a...
So Tyler's going to go ahead and make a 2-feather fletch on the top of his dart. One thing to note when you're making an atlatl dart is actually the fat end is the point that's going into hopefully the animal that you're hunting, whereas the skinny end is where we're going to put the atlatl attachment. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is find 2 feathers that are of the same wing. In other words, they both have their mass and kind of curve in one direction. So we have some nice turkey feathers here for you. So what I'd like you to do and shave off the back of it. So the next thing that we need to do is remove some of the feather from the top of this so that we have the spine to actually bind around. Yeah. All right, before we actually go ahead and fletch, what I'd like you to do is use your knife to carve out the tip of this so that your atlatl has a place to rest into. It's not a lot, a little hole, yep. Let's see.
Notch a bit.
Feels pretty good. Take some of our fake sinew. With this piece of cord, what I want you to do is make a loop. You're gonna wanna go all the way up to the feather. For the tips, you have a lot of options. What I've done on the end of this one is actually add an extra piece of bamboo that's just a tad wider in diameter, a little bit bigger than the actual dart itself. Bound it a number of times. It's hollow on the inside. And then I have the opportunity to switch tips. I have something like this, which I throw into our hay bales for practice. I could make a proper, sharp point to go hunting with, or I could shove a bunch of small fire hardened sticks inside and have a fishing prong style tip. All right, well, should we go throw a dart?
Do it. Alright, see if I can actually go straight.
all in the wrist. Yeah. Yeah!
That's awesome. I think that would be effective.
It would probably be effective. I wish I would have gotten the heart. That's where you should normally be aiming with an animal, but right between the eyes, not bad. It's a small bunny.
Gives you a little more meat to eat.
True.
Totally
Cleaner
did that on
hide.
purpose.
Yep,
Yeah,
did that on
yeah.
purpose for
That's
sure.
Let me see if I can actually hit the hay bale.
All right.
But they're pretty much all basically the same all over the world. They're all basically the same shape because they have the same function as far as arrowheads and knives go. They're for working on animal flesh, you know, for piercing animal flesh, piercing the lungs and the heart. And a long, slender, really sharp, serrated edge could do that. Just as well as a stone, as a steel edge. Of course, steel lasts a lot longer. You may only get one shot out of one of these arrowheads, but that's all you need.